I can definitely be honest about my own flaws and my own mistakes because I bought the mainstream media narrative that there wasn't a migrant crisis.
Really?
And yeah, I did believe it.
Wow.
I believe because, look, I was an idiot because, I mean, who do you trust in today's media landscape?
I know.
Right? There's a lot of liars out there.
Yeah,
and when it comes to mainstream media, the fact of the matter is they do play defense more and more for the Democratic Party. And that's an issue because there was a time when that didn't happen. And so I still believed in their good faith reporting, even though it turns out, a lot of these reports would omit really important details about what's really going on. I think some of the best moments on the Breakfast Club in this election process was when young Black men would call in to explain why it was that they had turned on the Democratic Party. And I find their perspective incredibly important and very interesting. And I feel that they were just kind of left behind by the Democratic Party. And, one of the things that would come up over and over again was the immigration issue. And I'm not under the impression at all that these are anti-immigrant individuals, but people living in places like Chicago, for instance, who have seen their resources, which are usually used to nickel and dime the local Black community there, essentially be used for the influx of migrants who came in. Federal government run by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris just kind of neglected the issue and allowed these municipalities to struggle with the issue on their own. And the thing that frustrates me, Charlemagne, is that if you are someone who identifies as on the left, regardless of where you fall on that left-wing spectrum, if you have the audacity to bring up this very real issue, well, I mean, you know how Sonny Hostin will treat you if you bring it up on The View, right?
I found an interesting clip of Anna Kasparian kind of like going through what went wrong with the Democrats, how them constantly ignoring their base, their voters. I mean, this is the same party that just nominated Kamala Harris as their nominee without a primary election. They're the same party that literally when everyone saw Biden's mental decline, if you look at polls before the debate, before it was proven that everyone who thought about Joe Biden's mental decline was fact, there was polls out there that 62% of Americans believe that Joe Biden was mentally unfit to be president. This is before his debate with Donald Trump. The Democrats didn't listen. Democrats said, no, we're not going to have a primary for Biden for 2024. Even though they had, what's his name? Dan Phillips, RFK, people running against Joe Biden. The Democratic Party said, no, we ain't going to have a primary for Joe Biden. And it's now these people are willing to admit why Kamala Harris lost, why the Democrats lost at such a wide margin. And I like to see, I think if the Democrats were smart, they'll listen to Anna Kasparian here, because I think she's one of the few people I think who, I don't know if she still calls herself a leftist, but I'll say she's an independent center left person. And she sees it. She's like, yo, you guys need to listen to these people, because if you want their vote, you have to listen to their concerns. And I think it was brushed aside too long. Many people just expected young Black men to vote behind Kamala Harris because she's Black. She's Black. She's mixed, but she's Black, right? And that those platitudes don't matter to a lot of voters now. And I think it's very insightful. She also did an interview with Glenn Beck. So let's. I just wanted to play the clip, and then I'll show you how Eric Adams is responding to this situation, because I think the tides are turning, especially on illegal immigration.
Democrats seem to not ever want to do a little bit of self-reflection to understand, okay, what can we do better the next time around? Instead, I see them kind of lashing out and blaming everyone else for the loss. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. I was a victim of it. I mean, they lost that battle a couple of years ago. I remember a couple of years ago when Governor Greg Abbott and Governor Ron DeSantis were putting, the migrants on buses and planes and sending them to so-called sanctuary cities. And then, as soon as they got there, those so-called sanctuary cities, they weren't so sanctimonious, were they? They were literally saying, hey, no, send them back. You can't come. And I said back then, I thought that was evil genius. Yes, it was inhumane and cruel to do that, but on the flip side, you did say you were sanctuary cities, and you did say you wanted these people until you got them. And so then when they realized it was an issue and they were saying don't come, it made the Republicans look like they had it right the whole time. I remember earlier this year, January, I was doing exactly what you just did, Anna. I was talking to my activist friends in Chicago, like my homie Zoe, and she was going to city council meetings every week, complaining about what was happening. And it wasn't even just about the fact that, you know, the migrants were coming over, that she was just complaining that they're getting more resources than we are. I had a guy.
I don't care if they're getting the same amount of resources as black people. They don't deserve no resources. They didn't contribute at all to the tax dollars. That's the problem. That's the problem people are having. All right. And if you look, I have a chart, right? Let's see if I can find the chart. I'll probably skip ahead just when I find the chart. Welfare used by legal status of households. Look at that. Illegal immigrants, there's a large percentage of illegal immigrants that use welfare more than American US born citizens and legal immigrants. Look at that. Look at that. Legal immigrant, look at this. Look at this. For cash, any welfare, they definitely beat us. For Medicaid, they're definitely on it. Housing, they do less than us. And then look at the food. So we are essentially funding their well-being here. And they take a lot of money. If you look at how much money that that illegals use, they use a lot of our resources. And many people call it out. This is not sustainable. This is why you got Eric Adams changing his tune here. Let's check out this clip of Eric Adams saying that he'll use his power as mayor to remove illegals out of his sanctuary city. Let's take a look.
More cooperation with ICE agents, though?
Yes, I do believe that. I stated this prior to the election. And this is what get me, Marsha. People are saying, okay, after the president-elect is coming in, Eric is now saying different things. No, I was saying this prior to the election. I was saying those who are committing crimes in our city must be addressed, and we should change the current sanctuary city law to address that issue. Mayor Bloomberg knew that, Mayor Koch knew that, the previous administration altered that, and I thought it was a big mistake.
So do you think you could have any chance of re-altering or re-changing it so that there's more cooperation?
Well, the city council made it clear they don't want to change that. They stated they're not willing to change the sanctuary city law. I think they're wrong. I have my teams looking at my power as executive orders. I'm going to sit.
Is it possible you could do an executive order?
We're looking at that. The legal team, the corporation council that they just approved, they're looking at, the office is looking at. Do I have the power to do so? I have to protect the people of this city. That is my North Star. It always has been. And if you are committing crimes on migrants, on immigrants, undocumented, documented, it's all the same to me. And I want to address.
So yeah, it's all around just bad, right? They're taking resources from us from a national level. They're getting bussed everywhere. They're getting flown out everywhere on the taxpayer dime that they didn't contribute a single dime to. They're putting Chicago in debt, almost $1 billion in debt. I think what $982 million they spend on illegal migrants, housing them, holding them here. And for what purpose? Even though the constituency don't want them there. Brandon Johnson didn't even want to put the sanctuary status on a vote because he knew the people would vote against it. This is the Democratic Party. But once they lose, that's when y'all feel comfortable criticizing them. When y'all could have prevented this whole issue. When I brought it up, I even brought it up during the 2023. During the primaries, I was talking about this stuff. I was like, if I was a Democratic voter, I would not reward the Democratic Party for doing that. And it seems like a lot of Americans listened to me. Or not a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans came to the same conclusion as me, is that, yo, we can't reward the Democratic Party for this ish. And you see Eric Adams, he's acting on it. He's smart. He knows, oh yeah, we messed up on this issue. We're gonna come to where the people want. And a lot of New Yorkers care about this. I'm gonna do something about it. And that's a smart political move. But what I see from a lot of the Democrats is an unwillingness to criticize the candidate herself, Kamala Harris, her campaign people. Hell, even Kamala Harris's campaign staff don't want to criticize themselves about how they did a bad job. They're always blaming the voters, America. Oh, okay, keep sitting there. You want to run America, but you don't want to listen to America. That seems like the MO of the Democratic Party. But I'll let this video finish out.
They're getting more resources than we are. I had a guy, he works in a parking garage in New York. He saw me one day and he came to me in tears, talking to me about how, there were gangs that were coming over, tearing up his neighborhood. And he was saying he knows it's because the border needs to be closed. This is a black woman I'm talking about and a Spanish man. These people were not MAGA in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. They were just talking to people about what was going on in their communities. In New York City, Mayor Adams let a bunch of migrants stay in the school overnight and made the kids that went to the school do homeschooling that day because he needed to give the migrants housing for the night. People were calling into the radio station complaining about that. So when I get on the air and I say that, or if I'm in an interview with, I think at the time I was doing an interview with Fox News, and they asked me a simple question: do I think the border is going to play an issue come November? I told them everything I just told y'all. Next thing I know, MSNBC has a headline that says Charlemagne the God is spreading MAGA messaging. That is not MAGA. That is not MAGA messaging. And
I think what really doomed the Democratic Party is when they made common sense right wing. Yes, they made common sense a conservative thing. And if someone says, "Oh, I have common sense," and if common sense is associated with conservatism, I guess I'm a conservative. And that's what happened in 2024. The left literally sat there and said, "Common sense is for the right. Common sense is rightism. It's far right act." Okay, I guess we're far right then. This is what the left has done. And they wonder why they lose. And they wonder why they lose.
that is the Democrats dismissing what their base was actually telling them, because they already had labeled the issue of the border a Republican MAGA issue, and it wasn't. It was an American issue, and it was people in their party, people in their base, or used to be in their base, complaining about it, and they didn't listen.
Hey, story of the Democrats' life. Story of the Democrats' life. I can go on for days. I can go on for days, right? But Anna Kasparian had an interview with Glenn Beck that I want to finish the rest of it because I think it was a very insightful conversation, and it just proves to me that Democrats they don't look at the issue for what it is. It almost like they look at the issue and see, how can we gain from it politically? How can we maintain control politically? Does this hurt us? Help us? Illegal immigration helps Democrats. I already talk about it in nauseum on my channel about the political motive for Democrats wanting illegals in the country. It boosts their census. Bigger census means more House seats for the Democrats. This is why they have the sanctuary cities. The sanctuary cities are there to increase their population numbers, so that way they can get a bigger piece of the government pie, so to say. So you can say, right? And then they know in a couple years, if these guys get a passive citizenship, there's the probabilities are in their favor that a lot of these illegals are going to vote Democrat, which will solidify their political power. This is the reason, like, no one wants to talk about the political angle, right? They want to mask it by pretending to be moral and virtuous, and we just care about the well-being of people. But I digress. Here's Anna Kasparian and the rest of the clip of her talking with Glenn Beck about what went wrong with the left and possibly why she left it. Let's take a look.
Reports would omit really important details about what's really going on. And so it wasn't until Texas Governor Greg Abbott started busing or sending migrants to blue cities where that woke me up. That woke a lot of people up. And suddenly America realizes, oh, there is a migrant crisis.
Why did that wake you up?
Well, because all of a sudden you're seeing migrants sleeping on the floor in the police department in Chicago because they don't have shelter for these people, right? You're seeing, I love watching streams of city council meetings because that's how you understand what's really going on in these cities, right? These are real people who live there and they get their opportunity to speak.
Chicago's been an amazing thing to watch.
Wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch every city council meeting from Chicago because it's
crazy.
incredible.
Yeah.
And for me, rather than relying on mainstream media reporting or anyone's reporting, to be quite honest with you, what I'll do is I'll go out of my way and I'll watch, the entirety of a government function, local government function. I talk to real people and I get a sense of where hearts and minds really are.
I think we all get the point. And I do this already. This is one reason why I don't try to get my wife involved in politics. I like her saying apolitical because then I can just bounce off. Hey, what do you think about this issue? Hey, you heard about this story? If this is true, what are your thoughts on this? I talk to some of my neighbors who are not so political and get how they're reacting to this. And that's a good litmus test. And I think that's why I'm not so overtly political, because it helps me understand, okay, like, what are people seeing? What are everyone else is seeing? And I think on the left, they lack that kind of curiosity, right? For a political group like liberals, progressives that claim that they're so tolerant, they're so open-minded, they're not really tolerant. They're not really open-minded. They have a view of the world, and you will fall outside of that. Oh, you're a right-wing extreme. Oh, you're speaking mega talking points. How's worried about the border a mega talking point? How is that, hey, inflation outgrew wages, a right-wing talking point? So pointing out a problem that's inconvenient to the Democratic narrative, to the Democratic Party, the Democratic governance is right-wing talking point. You see how they mask everything that they. This is why I don't believe in the label stuff they like to throw at people, right? Hey, look at the governance in blue cities. Look at the crime. The crime rates in blue cities are up. Oh, crime's up everywhere. But it's mostly coming from the blue cities. Oh, that's not an implication on our governance. Like, what is? Like, until the Democratic Party learns to take accountability, I don't think they're going to win in a very long time. But I could be wrong. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How you feel about all these pundits coming out, and now after it's obvious, now they want to come out. Oh yeah, I saw problems coming. Oh, it wasn't a surprise to me that Trump won when all these people essentially voted for Kamala Harris. Yet here they are, the same people admitting, yeah, we kind of saw this coming. Oh, we had a feeling, but we had a lot of hope on our side. I find it very interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.